Welcome to the homework tracker / academic planner. So the first thing I want to do is just give you a really brief overview. The first page here is the setup page, and this is where you'll enter information that ends up populating on the other sheets, as well as just giving you a little bit of information to help you plan your classes. Here is where you'll enter all of your homework assignments, deadlines, any notes about your assignments. Here's the calendar, and this is where your homework will automatically populate. Here's the weekly planner where you can go ahead and create your both fixed and changing schedule week per week. And then this is where your grades will be summarized, and we'll give you an grade point average, which is just an estimate but gives you a ballpark for how you're performing in your classes. And then there's also a tool to help you plan the rest of your school year and school years to come. So the first thing that you're going to do is go to your setup page, and this is where you're going to enter in all your different classes for the semester. So you're going to write in your subject code, and this area here under subject is what's going to end up populating in the class drop-down options when you're entering your assignments. So if you are taking 2 art classes, for example, like we have shown here, you're going to want to differentiate these in the subject header. So I did this by adding art A or art B. You could also do 1 or 2, or you could put in the whole class number if you wanted to, but that would just make it a little bit more crowded on the following drop-down options. So I'm going to stick with art A and art B. And then you can write in your the number of the course code for your records. You can write in the title of the class to help you keep track. And you can go ahead and mark down what times of the week the class meets. So let's go ahead and do Intro to Design. I'm going to check the boxes for Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And this class meets from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. So I'm going to write that down there. Then under Activity and Priority, these are areas that end up populating right here, Activity and Priority. So you can customize these if you would like, but I'm going to keep them for activity type being a reading assignment, a writing assignment, a test, or a project. And under priority, I'm going to keep it simple, high, medium, and low. I'll show you examples later on of changing some of these options around and what ends up happening. But for now, we're going to stick with this. So once you've done your setup page, I would recommend going over to the weekly planner. And here you can enter in your fixed schedule for the week. So for me, I want to enter in all of my classes since those aren't going to be changing. And so what we did in the setup page was we added the times for Intro to Design, right? And that's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 to 2. So I want to add that over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select all of this. It can be a little bit tricky to select multiple boxes like this, but you just have to kind of hover and hold it. Click, hold the click down, drag, and then hover until that little hand appears. And then you can go ahead and click copy on your computer. So I'm on a Mac. For me, that is Control C. And then I'm going to click on the 1 p.m. start time and click paste. And I'm going to write Intro to Design. Okay, so now I've got a nice time box, and I'm going to, again, click, hold, drag, press, copy, paste, then copy that to Wednesday and Friday. And now I've got my class schedule for Intro to Design. And I can continue going down the list like that and adding little time blocks. And I can also put in other things like habits that I want to do, journaling, exercising, practice sessions, outings with friends, and you can go ahead and color code all of these activities any way that you'd like, but if you'd like to choose from these colors, you can do so. So for example, I can click on this box and I can go up to the fill color and I can pick any of these colors here, or I can pick the color picker and I can just go ahead and highlight any one of these pre-made color options for you. But I'm going to go ahead and keep this because I kind of like my classes all being one color, even though they're different classes. That way I know this is my class schedule. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish putting in all my classes, and then I might also enter in, let's say I want to have a study time after this. If I don't want to select from these, I can also just go like this, study, pick a color, okay, and then I can also just drag this down. Study, study, study. Maybe I don't want it to say study 3 times in a row. But here we go. I've got a 2-hour study session that happens after Intro to Design. And now I can copy paste that into any times that I want. So then when I come in week to week and I want to change this schedule, I can just select and delete and change the color back to white. And I'm ready to make a different schedule for the week. There's only one other thing I want to show you, and that is up top in the weekly planner where it says start date. You can click and choose the start of your week. And I have it set to where this is going to show either Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So that's going to determine the start day of your week. So if you want your week schedule to start on a Sunday, make sure that you pick a date that is Sunday. So I'm going to go to my date picker and I'm going to go to November. Here it shows today's date, and I'm going to make sure I pick Sunday of this week. And when I do that, you can see that the assignments due this week automatically populate in this pane up top. So that way I can just quickly see what assignments I have to do. For art, I have to read pages 77 to 95. And for English 2, I have to write an autobiography. So if I want to make a little bit more room for myself to work, I can hide this pane by clicking the plus or minus arrow. And here it shows you how many assignments I have per class and the activity type. One reading assignment, one writing assignment, and I can write notes for myself for the week. I can check these boxes, and yeah, that's that. So now we're ready to go ahead and enter our assignments. So the thing that I want to do is show you that up top in this pane, it summarizes information for you, like how many assignments are due today, how many are due this week, and how many are due this month. And then over here you have your done column, and this is corresponding to these same lines. So far I've done 0 assignments that are due today, I've done 0 that are due this week, but I've accomplished 4 that are due this month. And here's the done column. And you can see that when I uncheck these boxes, these go back to 0. This little chart disappears. Okay, and then these increase because I have more things left to do. So I'm going to delete these grades. Okay, so let's go ahead and enter an assignment for art class. So here I have to draw a self-portrait. And the type of activity it is it's a project. and the priority is medium, and it's going to be due in a week. So you can see that when I select the deadline, days till due automatically pops up, and it's a fairly dark color because it's due in only a week. The closer it is to the deadline, or if it's something that's past due, the color will be this bright red. And then the farther away the deadline is, such as this project here, the lighter the color is going to be here. So that's one way that you can keep track of things that you need to pay attention to. And then, of course, again, as I showed you earlier, as you check things off the list, they automatically get crossed out. The days till due disappears because there's nothing you have to think about. And then also on the calendar, these tasks disappear from the calendar. So you're literally clearing your calendar when you check items off your list. Okay, and then after you've done this assignment, you can go ahead and enter the grade that you received. And of course, if there were any notes that you needed to know in order to accomplish your assignment, you can go ahead and type them in here. So I'm going to use like using charcoal pencils. Okay, and then I'm due, let's pretend like this isn't done yet. I'm going to say this is like a online submission, so I'm going to write 12 a.m. But if there is no specific time that you need to keep track of, you don't need to use this column. Okay, so the same things kind of apply. If you don't want to use this priority column, you don't have to. If you don't want to use the activity column, you don't have to. It just means that things might not populate in some of these other areas that I've included for you, but it's not really necessary. The only things that are necessary are to include what class the assignment is for, the assignment, the deadline, and then when you've accomplished it, you need to cross it off the list. Okay, and then grades are optional, but if you want to keep track of your grade point average, you'll want to enter it in here. And notes are also optional. The only other thing that you need to know about this page right here is that you can expand and collapse this panel up top, and you don't need to pay attention to this notice that pops up. Don't worry about it, just click OK. So this will give you more room to work if you'd like. Okay, and then also up top it shows you how many projects are due today, how many are overdue, and then today's date. So what you can do in order to speed things up a little bit is, if you want to, when you get your syllabus, you can go ahead and enter in, say, all the assignments for your English class. So you can actually just select this and drag down. Okay, and that makes everything appear as English. And then you can go ahead and type in all of your assignments that are due for English with all the deadlines and the types of activities and everything. Okay, and then you can move on to your next class, Spanish, and do the same. Drag it down, enter in all your Spanish assignments, etc., etc. And then what you can do is you can click over here in deadline, and you can sort. Don't worry about that. Sort by deadline. Okay, and then that's gonna sort according to what's due first and then due last, and so on. Okay, so I just want to show you really quickly what you can do when you want to clear information. So if you check here on the days till due column, you'll notice that in this pane up here, it shows all of the code that is in the spreadsheet that makes these days till due automatically pop up. And so that would not be a column that you want to delete, but everything else you can delete. So you can go ahead and click on this class, drag the pane over, select all this area, and just press delete. And that clears out the spreadsheet. And you can see the days till due automatically disappears. But when you click on the boxes, you can see that the code is still there. So that function is going to enter. See, that function is going to enter as long as I put the deadline down. And then the same thing for grades. You can just select and delete. Same thing for notes. The only thing you might want to be aware of is that when you select and delete done boxes, the boxes tend to just disappear. But what you can do is you can select on a cell that has a box in it that is empty, and then you can click on this cell and drag it up, and that restores the boxes. If you clicked on a box that was checked and dragged it, then checked boxes would appear. Okay, so that's just a way that you can quickly restore things. And of course, if you make a mistake and you accidentally delete this column, okay, this should pop up, and that gives you a warning that you're not supposed to delete this area. But let's say that you deleted it anyway. Okay, you can also select this box and drag it upwards, and you'll be okay. It'll restore. Another thing you can do if you delete something you're not supposed to delete and the functionality disappears is you can always press the back button, also known as the undo button, and it's right under the file option on the top left corner of your spreadsheet. Okay, so really quick, I want to show you something that happens when you end up customizing some of these drop-down options in your setup sheet. So for example, right now I have the activities color-coded. So let's just go ahead and enter in some activities for you to see. Okay, so these are color-coded right now, and I went ahead and did that for you. But let's say that we go to the setup page and I don't really like these options. Instead of reading, writing, tests, and projects, I want to make this, instead of reading, I want to write pages, okay? So now when I come over here, you see it says invalid. This isn't really an option anymore. And then pages doesn't have a color. So here I need to change reading to pages. And then here I can change the color options by going down to the pencil or edit icon, edit button in the lower right corner. And then here are my options that automatically populate. And I can click on this and I can pick a color that's here. So I could pick yellow. If I want to pick a special color that isn't in the options, I can use my color picker to pick like one of the colors on the spreadsheet. And that's all fine, but I'm fine with this color, so we'll just go with that. Okay. And I've got all of these options done, apply to all, and now I've got color again. Okay. And just a reminder that I've got this nice sort of like rainbow of colors that you can choose from right here. So to do that, you just have to make sure that you scroll over so that you can find those colors when you go to select your special customize option. Remember to click background because it first goes to text. Then click your pick a custom color dropper, and then you can select any one of these. Okay. And so just a reminder, whoops, I just changed that to red by accident. Okay, done. Apply to all. And then, so just a reminder that of course when you change your classes, that same thing will happen. So let's just select these and delete all of this information because we want to start refresh. Whoops, now I don't have any boxes. Okay, so yeah, just a reminder, that's what happens when you delete checkboxes. But yeah, let's say we'll keep intro to literature, but everything else we're gonna change. So here's like Spanish, math, and then when we come into here, go English.